It's time for Game Time Live. Larry Michael and True Walker. It is opening day here today at FedEx Field. It's a gorgeous day. Temperatures in the low 70s. The slight threat of rain is no longer in the forecast. And finally, after a long off season and a lot of talk and speculation, it's time to kick off the season. What are your thoughts?
Well, can you believe it's here? I mean, week one of the regular season after a pretty successful preseason for the Redskins. You know, this place is going to be packed. We'll see what the Redskins have in store here.
Now let's check out the warm-ups as the Redskins and Dolphins kick it off at 1 o'clock. And, of course, all eyes are on Kirk Cousins. He's going to be the starting quarterback. We do not have the inactives yet. They'll probably come to us while we're on the air, so we'll keep an eye on that. But Kirk Cousins, man, he has been preparing for years. His Spartans won last night. Now it's his job to win today.
Yeah, and, you know, it's not going to be just Kirk, though. You know, obviously they're going to lean on that running game with Alfred Morris. Jones is going to get in there for his first, professional game. Chris Thompson as that third down back. So they're not just going to lean on Kirk Cousins today, but obviously he's going to have to manage a game. He's going to have to get over those turnover issues he had last year. And, he says he went through a lot this offseason and last season trying to get over that and figuring out what to do. Now they have Matt Cavanaugh at their disposal. He's helping a lot. So we'll see how Kirk's ready. But, I really feel like he's going to attack this Dolphins defense as they're going to try to attack him, obviously, up front. So we'll see how it goes.
And, of course, for Kirk Cousins, he's going to be facing a Miami Dolphins defense that has been bolstered by the acquisition of Ndamukong Suh, $60 million guaranteed, over a $100 million contract. And he, along with Cameron Wake, going to try to wreak havoc on a right side of the Redskins offensive line, which has 0 NFL starts between them, Morgan Moses and the rookie Brandon Sheriff. I'm telling you, that is the key matchup today.
Right, and, you look at Suh's numbers, it's pretty scary from a defensive tackle position. 238 tackles, 36 sacks, 13 pass breakups, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, and an interception. So, that's productivity right there. He earned that contract. And but Kirk Cousins said he's real confident in that right side. They're young guys, but they want to prove their worth in this league too. So it'll be interesting to see how they attack that, because with those 2 guys on that side, it obviously leaves the other side open for some attack on that Dolphins front.
Alex, bring it down here to the left as you see a couple of the Redskins working out with Joe Kim, who's a special coach for the Redskins, Stephen Paya and Eric Kwanjo. Tell me about the Redskins' defensive front, if you could. You've got a deeper defensive front, and yesterday a roster move. Houston Bates brought up from the practice squad. Frank Kears was released to make room for Houston Bates. Jackson Jeffcoat's banged up. Kerrigan playing for the first time all offseason, in fact, recovering from that knee surgery he had. Ryan's 100%, moving Bates up to bolster that outside linebacking core.
Well, we have some breaking news here with the inactives. Robert Griffin III, Rashad Ross, Jackson Jeffcoat, Spencer Long, Tom Compton, Ari Kwanjo, and Anthony McCoy at tight end will be inactive for the Redskins today. So you talk about the front, defensive front. It's probably the most bolstered unit for the Redskins this offseason. You had Paya. You had a guy like Ricky Jean-Francois, Terrence Knighton, of course, in the middle. Those guys are expected to add depth and talent, young depth and talent, mind you, for that front. So we'll see how that goes as Deshaun Jackson walks by.
He's jogging by, Deshaun Jackson, electrifying wide receiver, looking to go deep against the Dolphins secondary here today, which features Brett Grimes, but that is a unit for them that we've heard a lot about this week. Maybe not their strongest unit. So giving Kirk Cousins time to throw, I think, is imperative here today.
Yeah, and you heard a little bit towards the end of the week about, Deshaun Jackson being winded at practice. I don't really buy into that. He's a professional athlete. You watch him last year play through all those injuries. He still dominated. He was the best deep threat in the league. He'll come out here ready to go. He wants that football. So, yeah, give Kirk Cousins time to throw. He'll throw it deep to Deshaun, which he did many times when he got the chance to play last year.
I saw you walking up the steps. You were winded, and I was coming up from the press conference room. I was winded, but I don't have a fear that Deshaun Jackson is going to be winded anytime during the game. Directly in front of us, linebacker Keenan Robinson, one of the leaders of this Redskins defense, going up against the Dolphins offensive line. Brandon Albert, the University of Virginia Cavalier, has overcome a knee injury. He will start here today, but getting after Ryan Tannehill, I think, is a big key for the Redskins here today.
Right, it'll be key to slow him down. They kind of go at things kind of like the Philadelphia Eagles, which is good because obviously the Redskins prepare for that 2 times a year. But, last year the Dolphins had 26.95 plays per second. That rate was 11th fastest in the NFL. So you say, about middle of the pack. Well, it's still pretty quick, so the Redskins know they have to be prepared for that. And also, Tannehill can take off and run at any second. They like to do the read option, too. So Keenan Robinson, all those guys in the middle, the guys on the outside, they're really going to have to contain Tannehill to that pocket.
Here's the big man, Trent Williams, walking by us. Signed that big contract. He's going to be a Redskin for the rest of his career, and he's going to protect the blind side of the quarterback, which today is going to be Kirk Cousins. I'm Larry Michael, along with Andrew Walker. Lou Holder is standing by. This is Gametime Live, previewing Week 1, the Redskins and Miami Dolphins. 14th meeting between these two teams. The Dolphins hold the all-time edge with 8 wins and 5 losses. Now, 2 of those 13 games came in Super Bowls, and the Redskins obviously lost their first Super Bowl appearance, won their second Super Bowl appearance. And did you know that this matchup between the Redskins and Dolphins, the home team has won the last 7 matchups? So maybe home cooking does the Redskins well here today. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock. And you have your keys to the game, Andrew. I know that you work on those, and you've had a lot of time to think about these. You've had all offseason, so these better be good, Andrew Walker, okay? What do you have?
Well, I mentioned most of them. Lean on Morris and Jones. You got to let Alfred Morris and Jones establish the run, and Matt Jones, that is, establish the run for Kirk Cousins to have any kind of success, so that keeps the pass rush away. Spoil Sue's debut, sign that big contract, make sure that Ndamukong Suh is neutralized as much as possible. He's going to make his plays, but you got to neutralize him. Slow him down. Like we said, they run a pretty quick offense. You got to slow them down. You got to make sure that they play at your pace, not at their pace. And then finally, take your shots. As much as you want to establish the run, there might be some chances for Kirk Cousins to make plays down the field to Pierre Garçon, Deshaun Jackson. Maybe Crowder gets in there. So you never know. It'll be interesting to see how this game pans out for the Redskins.
All right, thank you to Andrew Walker. And let's get one final word from Andrew. Don't go away so quick. What's in store on Redskins.com today? Obviously, you can catch this Gametime Live rebroadcast all the way up until kickoff. But a lot of great coverage coming both on the site and on social as well.
Of course, we always bring you great photo coverage. Garrett Campbell, our photographer, does a great job, so check those out during the game. Check us out on Twitter, @Redskins, on Instagram, @Redskins, Facebook, obviously, on Redskins. But check us out for all the coverage. We'll get you all the news you need to know.
Thank you to Andrew Walker, managing editor of Redskins.com. Let's bring in Lou Holder, who is with us, as always, every game here at FedEx Field. And, Lou, what is your outlook on this game?
Well, my outlook on this game is that it's always good to see a fresh new start for a Washington Redskins season. We always talk about, the expectations, but this is the day that everybody in the entire league is 0-0, at least, except for the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New England Patriots, right. And hope is everywhere. But, Larry, walking around the DMV as I usually do, the one place where you get the best banter is an African-American barbershop. So when I go in the barbershop, the questions were abounding, and somebody actually told me to ask Larry Michael, what does he think about the running back situation? Is Alfred Morris going to be the bell cow? Is this guy Jones going to take over? So I'm asking you, Larry, what are your thoughts on how this running back position is going to play out? Because in the NFC East, in November and December, you have got to run the football.
Well, we'll tell you this. Thank you for the question from the barbershop. And, of course, I can also go down there and get a cut, right?
You can, Larry.
Okay,
Larry,
so
they would
exclusive.
They would welcome you, Larry. It's unisex, and everybody gets a nice haircut.
They can trim me up and give me a little talc on the back of my neck, too. I need the talc.
Absolutely. You're a brother, so you can come up in there.
Now, for the running game for the Redskins, of course, Alfred Morris, in my opinion, is going to be the bell cow. He's going to get 20 carries a game. I think the hope for the Redskins offense and the hope for the Redskins running game to Redskins fans out there is the fact that you have some other options. So if Alfred's going to soften up a defense, and then you're going to see a little bit of Matt Jones, you're going to see a little bit of Chris Thompson, and those guys are exact polar opposites. Matt Jones is a huge, bruising, 235-pound guy. He's going to punish you when you're trying to tackle him. He's going to deliver the blow. Chris Thompson, scat back, very elusive. He's going to make you miss. So I think the perfect formula would be a heavy dose of Alfred Morris early, spot in Matt Jones, then on third down situations, get a guy like Chris Thompson in there, mix the thing up a little bit. And the Redskins have a lot of offensive firepower, but the one thing we really don't know about is Kirk Cousins today under this pressure. Kirk Cousins' history, obviously, as a backup has been to throw a pick or two. That has been his weakness. Now, he is the anointed starter, Lou, so I'm going to turn it around to you. If you're at my barbershop, and of course I go to one of the real frou-frou places. I go to a nice place to give me a little back rub. You go to the real man's barbershop. I go to one of the fancy places, but questions there abound. Can Kirk Cousins handle this pressure? He is now the starter. That is a different mindset. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing and the biggest key for Kirk Cousins is to have his special teams give him a short field. The short field is going to be huge for Kirk Cousins. For Kirk Cousins to have to go, like Robert did, like so many people, 80 yards every single drive. This special teams has got to give this quarterback and give this offense some shorter fields to work with. Then Kirk Cousins will, it's mental with everybody. You have one good show, Larry, another show abounds. You have a couple bad shows, it starts to get in your head. So right now, if he shows a pick, that's going to happen in the NFL. He's got to be able to rebound from that and not let it fester into more and more negative attitude. And it's all in his head. It's all in his head.
Yeah, we'll see. I think that is the one unknown factor. Yeah, you got a couple young guys playing on the right side of the line. They're going to have to deal with Sue and Cameron Wake. We've known this game was on the schedule for a long time. You have a very special show coming up at halftime. I want to tee that up because the NFL this year is celebrating the 50th anniversary Super Bowl year. And we're going to have some honorary captains introduced before the game. Joe Theismann for the Redskins and Bob Greasy for the Dolphins. Of course, the Redskins lost to Bob Greasy in Super Bowl VII, and the Redskins won Super Bowl XVII with Joe Theismann at the quarterback position. I don't know how much time you have at halftime with Joe Theismann, Lou, but it's never going to be enough.
It's never going to be enough, but this is a great, I want to talk about that, Larry, because you and the people of the Washington Redskins have made halftime a lot better here at FedEx Field. There are going to be scores. There's going to be red zone highlights. And, yes, every home game we are going to have the honorary captain come by for a talk. And it's so cool that this is the 50th anniversary of the Super Bowl, the golden anniversary, and they're going to be highlighting all of the matchups. And, yes, the Washington Redskins have two. Against the Miami Dolphins and then later on against the Buffalo Bills. So Joe Theismann coming in here, yes, I will try to just say Joe and then let him do his thing.
It's easy work for you, Lou, because Joe will take it over. Lou, appreciate it. What is I don't have a prediction here, but what are your thoughts? What kind of game are we going to see here? Obviously, nationally, people don't give the Redskins a chance in this game, but being around the football team, they've known this game is coming up. They've game planned. I think it's going to be a very competitive ball game. What kind of game are we going to see?
I actually think it's going to be high scoring. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game. I think as people try to figure out Kirk Cousins and figure out defenses and figure out Sue, and I think it's going to be a high scoring game, but I really think it's going to come down to, as it always does most of the time in this league, special teams and field position. You're looking at our kicker and our punter and our, Nick Sundberg. They're going to Tress Way. They're going to have an integral part in all of these games because they are going to be competitive, as you said. And if they're competitive, that means it's going to come down to a field goal here, an extra point here. You got to make your extra points on your field goals.
I like that prediction, and I'll tell you this, a lot of people don't know, but as we did our research, you're going to find out Miami has two rookie kickers, rookie field goal kicker, rookie punter. Neither has ever played in the National Football League, so maybe that prediction of special teams will be key here today. Lou Holder, we'll see you at halftime.
All right, thank you, Larry.
All right, the great Lou Holder here as we wrap up this edition of Redskins Game Time. We'll give you our keys to the game. We talked about it on Redskins Nation. And don't forget the kickoff of Monday morning wrap-up tomorrow on Redskins.com and also on Comcast Sportsnet, 11 a.m. Chris Cooley is back, and he is joined by Clinton Portis this year for that show. So we invite you to tune in for that, both on Comcast Sportsnet and on Redskins.com. Number one, stick with the run for the Redskins. It might not be easy early. Stick with the run. See if you can get that ground game going. Don't give up on it. I don't think they will. They might be tempted to, but I don't think they will. They know how important the running game is today here against this particular Miami Dolphins defense. You don't want to get Cameron Wake and Ndamukong Suh into Kirk Cousins' face very often. Also, win the battle of turnovers. Redskins near the bottom of the league in turnover ratio. Last season, Miami Dolphins middle of the pack at around 14. They were a -2. Redskins were a +12. So you look at the turnover situation. The Redskins have to win that battle and also get off to a good start. This is a Redskin team that needs to build some confidence early in the year. I believe there's a lot more on the line here in this game for the Redskins than there is for the Miami Dolphins. And a lot of times at the end of the season, you look for the hungrier team. Who has the more on the line? in terms of what their future holds. And I think for the Redskins, it's ultimately important to get this win early on in the season, build some confidence, and then move on to week 2. I want to thank our crew for an outstanding job. I want to thank you for watching Game Time Live. Enjoy the game. Redskins and Dolphins coming up at 1 o'clock here at FedEx Field.